divided, that the lies now wall. They say they're the truth.
Jeremy Todd, welcome to the show, brother. How are you?
Thank you, guys. I'm well, a little sweaty. It's hot here. It's hot there. It's hot everywhere. But other than that, man, living the dream.
Yeah, I saw the post. You decided to quit your job and make the campaign full time, huh?
Yeah, well, it was kind of decided for me. I love my company. I don't fault them. I was surprised I got to hang around as long as I did. It was not the plan to have to choose between the two. But yeah, here we are. We've been fortunate enough that a lot of people put a lot of blood, maybe not blood, but a lot of sweat and tears into getting me on the ballot. People have handed me their hard-earned money, and there's no way I'm walking away after somebody's done that. So we're in this for real, and we're going to see it across the finish line.
Awesome. I was so unbelievably excited when I discovered you were running. We were live in the action of recording another podcast, and we were in the midst of it, and I'm like, oh shit, this is breaking news. Okay, cool. A libertarian just dropped into this race. Let me find his website. And I'm pretty sure it was so quickly after you entered the race that your website wasn't even finished yet. I was like trying to see your platform points, and like if you clicked them, they didn't go anywhere.
They weren't ready yet. Yeah.
So we just read through like
I have a funny story on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, are you ready for the story? All right. So here's the story. I don't get to shout out this person enough. She's an absolute hero. Her on X is @Libertarian Mama. Her name's Rachel Earl, and she's the absolute hero of the website story.
I follow her. Yeah,
dude, she's the best. Go give her your business if you need anything for a website. They don't come better. I reached out to her knowing that we were going to need a website, and I said, hey, if you were somebody I know you do this for a job. If you were somebody in my shoes and you'd never done this before, what would you use? Where would it start? And I just asked her, I was like, what would you use? How would you get started? What should I do here? I was looking for some advice, basically. And she basically told me, shut up. Don't say anything else. It'll be up in 24 hours. And I was like, okay.
I love that.
And then there we were. It was she needed kind of my help getting access to software for donations and things like that. She picked my brain on a couple positions, but ultimately that's all her. She did the whole thing and had it ready to go, and donated the entire thing to the campaign. She's an absolute monster, and just an incredible person too.
I have followed her for probably a couple months now. I'm new to X.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was on X like back in the Twitter days, and I got back in when we started the podcast, and I was like, I don't know if I'll really use it. And then now I'm an addict. I just want to harass people day and night.
Yeah.
But you'll
go through waves.
I like the platform because organically she started showing up in my feed, and I was like, this girl knows what she's talking about. I'm interacting with her content every single day, I think.
Yeah. And that helped because I can't tell you how many times I told her, I was like, I trust you. Just do it.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's cool to have people like that in your corner. And people that are ready to move that quickly. Like that's incredible.
That's a rare thing because in the political world, it's a lot of talk, but usually not a lot of action. So that's rare. That is fantastic.
Yeah, and
I'll be honest.
Sorry,
can I interject?
Go ahead.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, good. No, go ahead. Yours is more relevant than mine. I guarantee it.
All I was going to say is, early on when we decided to do this, it was kind of a reactionary thing to Massie losing, and I was kind of 1 foot out, 1 foot in. Let's give it a shot, see how the weekend goes, kind of deal. And then she was just another check in the box of like, okay, everything is going right. Everything is going well. Like, okay. And there's just this string. If I ever write about it, There's a string of happenings within like the first 5 days where everything goes right. And I was trying to like find a reason to get out, and everybody was giving me every reason to stay in.
Well, I think that the best politicians are the ones that never actually really wanted to be there. The guys who were like, it was never for me. Yeah, I think people who want to make a career in politics are the reasons we have a lot of the problems that we have. But no, what I was going to say was not related. I was actually on vacation like 2 weeks ago, and I just thought this was funny because I seldom go on vacation. I have 2 little girls. I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and traveling is a nightmare with babies. And I was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I was like trying to figure out if I could convince my fiance if I could reroute my drive home through Kentucky so I could try to show up and buy you a beer.
I would have drank that beer.
It came down to I was like I don't know if I just don't think I can get the wife on board. So
no, you made the right call.
Unfortunately,
no.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, though, the shortest route for me to get back to central Pennsylvania from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, was to go through a vast majority of Virginia, which meant I couldn't have any of my firearms. So I could not concealed carry on my vacation, which was just annoying.
You know what they say in The Waterboy, right? What mama don't know won't hurt her.
No, well, hey, it looks like we're getting closer and closer to constitutional carry every day.
Yeah, hopefully.
That might be the one good thing to come out of this Congress.
I honestly, their rulings on the NFA, on suppressors, things like that, that's honestly the only upside I've seen recently.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, for those that might not be familiar with you, you are running for KYO4. That is Thomas Massie's district after the abhorrent primary loss to the AIPAC puppet, Ed Gallrein. And
raise your hand if you're blocked by Ed Gallrein on Twitter. Oh, come on, buddy.
I don't.
Rob, come on now. You're not trying. You're not even trying, bro.
It's surprisingly easy.
Yeah.
Well,
listen, I roasted him through the primaries and he didn't block me. And then I ratioed him 5 times in a row.
Love it.
Apparently they hired somebody new in charge of social media. It was just like, nope.
Well, you know what,
blocking all these people. Yeah, that's right. It's definitely not him.
Yeah, I don't think he knows how to use a cell phone.
No.
I mean, this is a guy that wouldn't show up to a debate to actually discuss his policies or his positions on anything. And so, I mean, is that something you're going to try to get him to do? I mean, are you going to put pressure on him to try to get him to show up on a debate stage?
I mean, of course, I'd love to get on the debate stage with him. It's kind of the whole purpose. I think that's going to depend on a couple things. We've already been excluded from one. I'll go ahead and inform everybody. I mean, unless we pick up somewhere in the neighborhood of $80,000 in donations tonight, which I doubt is going to happen. One of the qualifiers for like the public television here is that you have to have raised a certain amount of money, and we'd only been in the campaign for 5 weeks. And so
that's a ridiculous standard.
Yeah, it includes. I was like, I even emailed him back. I was like, if I raise $30 million and I'm polling in the 30s or 40s. Next quarter, you're going to tell me like, no, rules were this back then. And they're like, yep. So that one he may attend. That'll be him and the Democrat that qualify for that. But there are other debates, bigger debates that will get bigger audiences. And I fully expect him not to show to those. But we're going to try.
100%. You know, that's a Ryan, you said it's a ridiculous standard. I think it's I don't think it should be a standard at all. I don't think the amount of money you raise should ever be a factor. I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, if you had enough signatures to get on the ballot, if enough people said, "Hey, we want this guy," you should be on a debate stage. I mean, it's one of those things where it's proof that a lot of the political game in America is completely rigged against third parties. It's designed to be that way.
Yeah. In today's, there was a Supreme Court ruling today that's going to make that even worse and more difficult. It does benefit my campaign in some ways, but it's going to benefit theirs far more. And so it's going to entrench the two-party system even deeper. But, we're always one event away from changing things. And that's sort of the motivation I have, is that if what do they say in the Little Giants? One time in politics really can change everything.
Literally.
But you're right. Yeah, the system is tilted obviously towards them.
That's one of the things that has frustrated me, just watching people's reactions on X, because obviously there was a lot of people on the right that were really pissed off when Massie got primaried, and their reaction was, I'm going to vote Democrat because now I want Republicans to lose. And I wish their reaction would be, I want to find somebody that I agree with and vote for that guy, rather than just being like, hey, I'm going to vote for the other team.
That would be.
And here's the thing. I think,
dude, I'm with you 100%.
I think the thing is, they think that voting for Democrats is going to punish the Republicans more, when in reality it doesn't. That's just the other half of the Uniparty, and they're still going to vote together in unison on the major spending bills and all of those things. They're both parties full of people who want to go be politicians, and I don't, and want to go raise hell and make a problem with these things. And that it's far more devastating if they invest. Can you guys imagine if they invest $20 to $30 million in a primary race, and then he loses to a third party in the general for the first time in American history? Not only would it be the funniest thing ever, it's devastating to the entire Republican, monolith. And that's how you stick it to them.
I will get a babysitter and I will overnight drive to your celebration party.
Oh yeah,
I'll be right there.
I promise.
We can carpool.
That would be absolutely fucking. Could you imagine? Yeah, you drop the most money on any primary in U.S. history and then lose to a third party. That would be incredible.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
It would.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think incredible is the word for it. I mean, heck, I think when we did that podcast, Ryan, I think we were talking about, hey, you know what? If you need people to go campaign for you, and knock doors,
legitimately,
let's go.
Legitimately, if I could get away from my house for a couple of days, man, I would love to come down. Oh, also, I mean, I'm a bourbon drinker, so I have ulterior motives.
Yeah, we have what are those called? Allotments. We get some pretty good ones, as you can imagine. But yeah, man, we'd love to, and we'll need those volunteers at some point in the future. Right now, the name of the game for us is we got to fill the coffers for those moments and be able to financially, pay for those things. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks that we've got coming up. But yeah, we'll need some people on the ground here in a couple months.
Well, I will be as loud as I can from Pennsylvania for you, and everyone will talk shit on me and be like, "You're not even from here." Well, no, I'm not. But
well, I still think neither were most of the people that dropped money and devoted time to Ed Gallrein's campaign. Most of them were in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, dude. Okay, first off, Massie a fucking savage. Mm-hmm. That speech was. Everybody was so mad about it, and I was like, bro, just mic dropped you, like hard. That was fun to watch, and also like if you can't have some comedy in politics, then I mean that was a good joke.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And he's the funniest. He's so much funnier than Trump, and Trump actually tries to be funny. So.
Dude, so I found a website the other day. I probably can't find it right now because that would be too convenient. But and it shows congressional voting records, but specifically tied to how they voted with or against their party. Mm-hmm. And the amount of of congressmen who have voted with their party, say 95+% of the time, is kind of alarming because at that point you're not even thinking for yourself or thinking for your district. You're just doing what you have to stay in office, in my opinion. And that was my comment was, if your candidate, if your representative has a 100%, don't trust that guy.
That's right.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
I
No,
completely
well,
agree.
and you know, back in the day, and I say this back in the day, as in when Charlie Kirk was still alive, they had a really great score, like Liberty score, and I used to look at that nonstop just to see,
Hold
you know,
up.
where everybody stood.
What's a Liberty score? This is the second time today I've heard this.
Yeah.
Jeremy,
You want to take it, Robert?
I'll turn this
Or
one to
I
you.
can take it. Yeah. So it's so there are organizations who are liberty focused when it comes to policy, and they go and review the votes of every member of Congress. So there's a few different liberty scores, but what Robert's talking about is the one that Turning Point had, and Massie was, I think, at one point 100% in that score. So
back when Turning Point still liked him.
yeah.
So the reason that I saw it earlier was somebody had posted a clip of I guess it was two candidates speaking at the same event, and they were competing against each other, and one of them walked up on stage and was like, "My name is so and so and I have a Liberty score of 95," and the next guy walked up and he was like, "My name is so-and-so, and I haven't been here long enough to have a Liberty score, but I did 2 tours in Afghanistan, and I have a KD of 21-0. And the crowd went wild, and I was like, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you for telling me that, because, you know, Ed is a Navy SEAL. So I gotta make sure you can't bait me into dumb mic drops like that.
Hold on. Can you say that again? I lost your audio completely for a minute.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, I just said I have to be. Thank you for saying that, because I have to be careful. Ed, the only two things Ed has going for him is he says, "I'll support President Trump," and I'm a Navy SEAL. So I got to make sure not to give him that same mic drop.
Yeah, listen, I respect the shit out of someone being a Navy SEAL. I do. I don't support the shit out of somebody just giving their unwavering loyalty to a politician, because people are people.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, like, your service is great, and being a Navy SEAL is absolutely an incredible achievement. I sure as fuck couldn't do it, but that doesn't necessarily make you qualified to be a congressman.
I don't think
opinion.
so either. Yeah, especially when you say all
too
you're
many
going to
people
do
use it.
is go vote and support the party, you're basically going to do whatever Trump tells you to do, or hand your voter card over to Mike Johnson. It raises the question, bro, then what are you doing? Like, why are you going there? And I think the answer is really simple. You see politicians get involved and get rich through insider trading, through rubbing elbows with lobbyists, and then when you leave, you get a cushy job that pays you millions to do nothing because they bought you off while you were in Congress. That's why Ed Gowring is going. He doesn't have principles he stands for. He doesn't have positions he stands for. He's literally going to be a puppet, but like, his trade-off is I get to get rich, and get my friends rich, do insider trading, and get rich from lobbyists.
Well, I've, via the internet, spoken to a number of people from your district, or your state, but more over your district. And it seems like no one is an Ed Gowring fan. They were all just anti-Massie. So they were taking whatever the institution threw at them at that moment in time. That had nothing to do with being confident in his ability. They just wanted something else.
Well, that comes from the fact that the ads that all of those millions of dollars were spent to buy were anti-Massie ads, and and ultimately they weren't pushing Ed Gowring. He ran a Joe Biden campaign. They hid him in the basement. They only allowed approved people to come to his events. I mean, one of his events was at this coffee shop and there's 4 people around a table. And this is a promoted, marketed event. Yeah, people are not excited about Ed Galbraith. What they did is they ran $20 million worth of AI boomer slop to our grandparents on Fox News and convinced them that Massie was in D.C. having threesomes with Ilhan Omar and AOC. And unfortunately, and listen, I've worked in financial services and dealt with a ton of fraud. This is who falls for scams, and that's who they targeted. And there were people that were interviewed after casting their vote, like exit polling, and they were asked, why did you vote for Ed Galbraith? And they go, well, I saw this, commercial of Thomas Massie going into a hotel room with Ilhan Omar and AOC. Yeah. And we're like, that wasn't real.
That's not real.
That's not real. But they go, oh my goodness, I didn't know. And so that's what they're doing. They're tricking your grandparents into voting for these people.
That's the sad. So I do a reasonable amount of property management for rental properties as my day job. And I have people calling me every single day being like, hey, do you have an apartment available? I'm looking for a first floor. I'm older. I can't get upstairs, things like that. And I had someone call me the other day and say, hey, I'm like 70, 75. Me and my husband, we're retired, Social Security. We're looking for an apartment. It has to be first floor, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't have anything available for you right now. All my first floor units are full. I was like, I'll keep an eye out. If I get one, I'll get back to you. She happened to text me later that night and say, hey, someone contacted me on Facebook and said they have this apartment. It's only $600 a month. They accept pets and they only want a $150 deposit. And they want me to fill out this, application for the apartment and all that. And I was like, do not fill out that fucking application. And she was like, what? And I was like, send me the address, send me all the contact information. I'm going to run backgrounds. I'm going to look. And I was like, you're piquing every red flag I have. Yeah. And so I end up tracking it down to the agent that had actually sold the property. And that agent was like, they're not renting that property. They literally just bought it. They're renovating it. It's not done. And then they're going to live in it. It's not a rental property. And then 2 days later, so I told her not to fill it out. She didn't. 2 days later, that same woman came to me with another scam aimed at older people looking for rental properties. And same deal. And so I take a lot of flack because I do talk a lot of shit on boomers on the internet, or at least it seems like I'm talking shit on boomers. And I'm really not talking about shit on them as people. I'm talking shit on their perception of fraudulent things at this point with AI and the internet and everything. It's not their fault. They just weren't raised in a generation with all that technology. And they can't tell the difference. I mean, fuck, I'm 36 years old, and there are days where I have to like look at the comments and be like, is this fucking AI? Like, that shit's convincing.
We basically live in a real life episode of South Park. So, I mean, the question of is that AI is like, you kind of have to ask that about everything. But, and unfortunately, when it comes to primary season, that is the main demographic that turns out to vote, at least on the Republican side, is 55 plus. So, I mean, they definitely knew what they were doing with targeting that crowd, getting those people out. I mean, they were already going to get out to vote anyway. So they knew all they had to do was sway their opinion. And so some of them fell for the slop and the other half were like, well, just, President Trump told me to.
Yep. And that's exactly what happened. The demographic split under 55. And it's not young people that support Thomas Massie. It's just not retired, right? Like 55 and under swayed heavily for Massie because they're able to spot these things and they don't fall for the traditional methods of politics anymore. The problem is the polls close at 6 p.m. So if you're like me, who's in my 30s and I work till 5, I have a kid to pick up from daycare. I'm not making it to the polls. Now there are some days of early voting, but that's just not the mentality of voters. People vote on election day, right? So you're able to exclude those and cater to the people that unfortunately fall for that sort of stuff.
Well, and now, I mean, you had the Supreme Court ruling that, mail-in ballots can be accepted after election day. So I mean, maybe that's the next push for those, for that demographic, is to say, hey, you know what? Even if you know for a fact that you're going to be able to get out on election day, request a mail-in ballot anyway, because you never know. And so, I mean, with the primaries, unfortunately, it's a game of voter turnout, and Republicans historically have sucked with voter turnout, period. And so when you have a party that's incredibly disenfranchised and essentially at war with each other, that voter turnout is ultimately what it comes down to. And you've got the 55 plus crowd that's retired, and what else do they have to do on a Tuesday?
It's the highlight of the week.
Well, and they're also, unfortunately, they're the ones who have time to absorb more of the information about the candidates. And if they're absorbing AI slop on TV, because let's be honest, the boomer generation is probably the only people that actually have cable at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a sure thing. And the whole system is pretty fucked on that standpoint. And I'm in my mid-30s. I don't think I know offhand. I don't know anybody that at least advertised the fact that they're voting in midterms or in primaries. I can't vote in primaries because I'm an independent, and Pennsylvania won't let you vote in primaries if you're a registered independent. But even then, most of the people I know picked red or blue, and then they voted straight down the line on their ballots. They never researched the opposition. I can honestly say I've voted primarily Republican in my life. I've probably voted Libertarian second to that, but I have voted for Democrats because, especially in local elections, I thought there was Democrats that were going to do a better job than the Republicans. But I think you have to make that distinction and be able to actually do your research and vote for the guy that's going to do the best job.
Well, and most people nowadays, they're not going to put in that time, because I mean, most people are working 2 jobs just to stay afloat, or they have kids. And the crazy thing is we have AI right at our fingertips. People will use it to generate funny cat memes, but won't use it to research their political candidates. At least get a general idea.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk policy. I mean, So the big thing I kind of want to, right, yeah, exactly.
Fair.
So the one thing I want to hit you with, and generally I don't like to put people on the spot too hard, but this is one of those things where I feel like it's necessary. Because obviously you're running as a libertarian. It looks like they deleted the post. But the Libertarian Party, the national platform, posted a tweet, I believe it was yesterday, maybe the day before, saying abolish ICE. And it had a GIF of no human being is illegal. I think that's one of those things where the LP can't seem to get out of their own way. But obviously, when it comes to that, we are talking about that being, quote unquote, the national party agenda. Is that an ideal you align with? And do you think that is something that the majority of libertarians align with, or just a radical sect of the party?
Fantastic question. So there are a few things that libertarians are split on. And my opinion on those issues is that the party should remain neutral and allow candidates specifically to determine their positions on those things. And the other part that makes that complicated is that you also have these sects of the party who are like anarchists. And I love my anarchists, but some anarchists are like, if you can't do it all right now, then don't do anything. And it's sort of like if I reduce taxes, then I'm endorsing taxes to exist. There's this so I try not to paint anybody. I try to think of libertarians as directional rather than absolute. and they don't all agree with that, but that's how I try to, frame it and help myself. On the immigration issue, I tend to agree with Ron Paul and Murray Rothbard and, Thomas Massie. It is unfortunate we do not live in a private property only society. Public property exists, and it is insane to believe that the entire world has access to property that I and all of you have paid tax dollars to build and maintain, such as infrastructure and things like that. So no, I don't believe you get a free pass to come to the country. And now that doesn't mean I think immigrants are bad. There are plenty of immigrants who add a ton of value to our country and are phenomenal people. And I personally, like, I was in Dallas a couple weekends ago, during the Mexico World Cup game. One of the best nights of my life. I ate at a taqueria at 4 a.m. with people who thought I spoke Spanish, and I didn't speak any Spanish. And just an incredible. I went to ride roller coasters. We were discussing earlier, but just a fun night. Like, I'm like, how do you not love these people and want to be a part of your country? So, anyways, that's a long story to get around. I think that the ideal libertarian society that we would want to live in is all of those borders are private and the property owners allow who can come and go. But that is not the world we live in. And so, no, I fully support that I should probably exist and I should exist today. And deportations do need to happen. Now, what I will also argue is that this president and a lot of other presidents, not a lot of other, just this one, has treated the ICE raids and operations almost like a reality TV show. And there's this the left has also then used it to make their own exposure with their protests. And here's what ends up happening. People get killed, like Americans get killed. And so that needs to stop. Like, you need to be, it's sort of like, okay, we have a foreign enemy and we have a military. You can't just drop a bomb on a girls' school because there's an enemy over there. Like, you know what I mean? You need to do better. Yep. You need to be held to a higher standard. That's how I feel about ICE. Yes, deportations need to happen. Yes, border enforcement needs to happen, as we exist today as a country and as a society. But do a good job. Like, do it smart. Don't rile up the left to where they're out in the street protesting you and chasing your cars down and turn it into this freaking reality show. Be smart about how you do it. And let's get it done. But that's ultimately where I fall. I know it's not a clean and kind of a complicated position, but we libertarians tend to overthink things.
Well, but that's the thing. I try to tell people all the time, politics is not black and white. No matter what people want you to believe, there's nuance to everything. And I don't like to give this man a lot of credit, but the one person that did a fantastic job, minus some of the family separation stuff, was President Obama. I mean, they called him the deporter in chief. Look at how many look at how much he got done in terms of immigration and deportations, but he did it all without making a spectacle of it. The only reason that it went wrong was because of the conditions that those migrants were treated with as they were awaiting deportation. And obviously family separation. So, but you have the other issue with ICE is that in order to conduct mass deportations at this scale, you have to hire people in. And hiring and training, you can't give somebody 3 months of training and then send them out into an intense situation like that. That would be the equivalent to hiring on somebody straight out of the academy and going, hey, you're going to SWAT first thing before you even work the street beat. Like it's completely counterintuitive. So
I agree.
I think there's a lot of things that went wrong there. And I think the expectations were set too high from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think there are ways to get these things done. Utilize states where, first of all, these happen in Minnesota. We could. I hope I don't offend anybody in Minnesota. I like a lot of y'all in your tater tot hot dishes and whatnot. But at this point, your state is gone. Like, it's lost. I would be totally fine paying down the debt by selling you to Canada. I'm good with that. I would vote yes. You can join Canada and we get money and we pay down our debt.
And actually, let's just make it a trade.
And yeah, we'll make it a trade, right? So
you give us Alberta, we'll give you Minnesota.
There you go, right? Win. My point, like, you have to put the onus at some point on states, and if states do not want to participate in deportations, don't force them to. That's where you're going to run into conflicts and issues. Instead, do it in states where the state, you basically have the support behind you. And then what'll naturally happen is they will funnel into these states, and then your job becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
that's the most interesting take I've heard on that, and I really like that idea. Because in general, my opinion on American politics and rule of law is that the power needs to be returned to the state level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look at how many times an illegal gets pulled over.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, look at how many times we've seen illegals get pulled over. They get in trouble for whether it's drugs, whether it's drug trafficking, whatever it is, and then they wind up in an American prison system where we're footing the bill for them still, when in reality, if the states would just support the immigration efforts, we could have the states just immediately, hey, ICE, come get this guy. Like, it shouldn't be as complicated.
Now you
as
open
we
the
make it
criminal
out to be.
justice. Yeah, now you open the criminal justice a can of worms there. Well, you know why they don't want to deport them is because those are privately funded prisons who get tax dollars based on how many prisoners they have. And so they want to keep the prisoners here in America, and the government supports it because those are their biggest donors. Are the private prisons and at those smaller local levels. So it's this that's why you can't get them on board. And it's really kind of a messed up system.
It's that same system that keeps PennDOT fixing my roads for years and years and years because they don't want to lose tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, the same stretch of the same stretch of I-90 and the same stretch of I-79 every single year get redone. It's like it's like a 20-mile stretch, and they redo it every single year, and it's like, guys, this isn't necessary. Like, meanwhile, the state highways that are in the local towns get sealant put over the cracks, and they call it a day. It's like, guys, come on, what are we doing here?
It's necessary if you're trying to launder money.
But so obviously,
well, that's
bingo.
True too. That's true too.
And American politics is just one big money laundering scheme. I mean,
no, that's never happened. Not once.
No. Listen, USAID was funding everything perfectly above board. There was not a single dollar wasted. All those transgender kids in Ghana or wherever it was, they all got their sex changes. I'm sure it all worked out. Like, actually, it's funny. Elon Musk posted a photo. Oh, we lost him again. All right. So fiscal policy, obviously the big problem we have is that both sides will vote to spend your money and waste it, and just Democrats just do it gayer. That's generally the only difference between the two. But the problem that we see is that there aren't enough people on either side of the aisle that are willing to go, hold on, wait a minute, no. And so you mentioned earlier, you want to be a disruptor, obviously, in Congress. So when it comes to things like the One Big Beautiful Bill, and these constant omnibus and just ridiculous 1,000-page spending bills that they dropped the night before, is it safe to say you would be a no vote on pretty much all of them?
Yes. Yeah. So I think Massie had a great strategy with his play to break the continuing resolutions, basically saying, you can have my vote on this one if you make it a rule, or, that any future continuing resolutions or omnibus bills like this come with a 1% cut across the board. To everything, it comes with a 1% cut. Well, so they did it. And then the speaker changed, and Mike Johnson threw it out and didn't follow the rule. And there's not enough votes to challenge him on it. So it was one of those things where if there was a way to negotiate a future with smarter people than me would have done it so far. So no, my vote is now a no unless there are direct cuts and that the spending goes down, not up. It has to go down, or I'm a no. And that's what it comes down to. And the way that they do this is it's all political, because the ads that they ran against Massie in this campaign, funny enough, the Israel lobby doesn't run ads about how you hate Israel. Shocker. What they run ads about is that you vote against bills that ban men in women's sports, or that you don't want to fund ICE or border security or whatever, when in reality those were tiny pieces of giant spending bills that still fund the Somali fraud and the daycare, that still fund all the fraud. None of the Doge cuts were made. That's why the big beautiful bill, BBB, is exactly the same letters as Build Back Better. It's because it's exactly the same spending bill. They just
it was an
added
extension
more
of Biden
stuff
era
on.
spending.
Correct. That's all it was. It was a copy paste, and then we add some border security and ICE stuff on top of it. And then now, if you vote no, we run ads against you that say you don't support border control and ICE. No, I don't support spending us into oblivion. And that's what Massie did, and that's how I'll play it too.
Yep, it's all a gigantic tactic. And my analogy to that whole bill was, if you have a tiny bit of shit in your sandwich, you're still eating shit.
Yeah, you're still eating a shit sandwich. That's
so,
right.
we were just catching, as you were restarting your whole setup there, we were catching up on some very current stuff, which is that Massie's resolution to the transparency just passed on the sexual misconduct from congressmen. And we noticed something interesting, and that was that back when that resolution was originally put forward, I believe one of the big proponents of it was Nancy Mace. And on this particular vote, it was 424, I think 10 not present, and then Nancy Mace voted present.
Yeah. She made a comment that she had already gathered this information via subpoena. And the big pushback to her was, well, okay, where's the list? What can you share that maybe with the American public?
Right.
I don't know why that would be a present vote for her, but it is weird. But listen, she's a weird duck too. I don't know how you guys feel about Nancy. Like
50-50.
50-50. Yeah.
She does shit
really
that is avant-garde, like she's going for the jugular, and I'm like, let's fucking go. And then the next day she does something that just pisses me off.
She does a lot of walkbacks.
She's got like that non-libertarian autism about her a little bit too, where you're just like, what? Why? Like, this is a great example of it. Like, but I don't know the DC swamp, right?
Sure.
I don't understand how these people are jockeying. Like, she's out of a job. Like, what is she trying to jockey for here? What is she trying to prove? I don't get it.
Well,
but I don't get these people either. So
that's what I love about this era of Thomas Massie, is that he's going, what the fuck do I have to lose, man? I'm gone.
It's pretty beautiful, actually.
Massie, drop the fucking list, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think my favorite thing he did recently was when the I want to say it was was it Rapid Response 47, or if it was the House Republicans account tweeted that, oh, there should never be any foreign interference in our elections, and he tweeted them back and was like, Israel would like a word.
Yes, Israel would like a word.
That's
100%.
He is the best troll in Congress.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
The Fox News reporter this week was great too.
Oh,
I didn't see that. I don't think,
dude. So this guy tried to ambush him on the street.
No, I didn't see this.
Can you guys pull video?
Bobby, can you
go?
Bobby, pull it,
Bobby,
please.
pull this up. Somebody, producer, let's do it.
Jamie,
So
pull this clip.
I actually made this comment to Ryan. I think it was on the last show, and I was like, we're billed as co-hosts, but somehow I get co-host and the Jamie role.
Yeah, the amount of times I'm like, "Hey, Jamie, pull it up," is way higher than it should be. But I love, Rogan has always been a hit or miss for me. I enjoy his show because I think he's a phenomenal interviewer. But that I love that the general public just acknowledges, like, "Hey, Jamie, pull it up," like that's a thing.
Exactly. So here it is, Ryan. Let me make sure this is at a reasonable volume and isn't going to burst our eardrums.
All right. Stuff your ex is saying about you with the NDA, that you pressured her to sign an NDA for wrongful termination. What is that true? What's she saying about you?
Who are you with?
With Fox Digital.
It's all false.
And what she said about you and Bober having an intimate relationship.
It's all false.
Why do you think she's out there saying it? Was it because of the primary, ahead of the primary? What do you think is motivating it?
When did you all become a tabloid? Seriously, dude.
Well, no, I just thought I would give you a chance to respond because you've never been able to tell your side of the story. That's all. But anything you could say.
So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
I just want to give you a chance, your side of it. I'm not going to get into that.
Are you a real news
I'm not
organization
going to get into that.
No, come back, man.
No.
You don't like
Congressman.
I'm
Of course.
Bro ran away.
But thank you.
That's not what I heard.
Thank you for your time. Just giving you a chance to respond. But thank you.
Holy shit!
Not.
He's just following him, dude. Oh my god!
Not only, here's the thing. Not only did bro run away and like have to answer, "No, I'm not into gay." He had to put out an X post on it. Have you seen that?
No.
He wrote a detraction on gay porn, and it just goes to show the disgusting side of it. And that, guys, that's exactly what happened with that. The whole story is a giant nothing burger, but if you throw it out there in the 11th hour, there's no time to sort of like recover it, and people just have to assume it's true. It's the dirtiest game in the book. By the way, if I do well, that shit's gonna happen to me. There's gonna be AI text messages for me. There's gonna be AI video of me with somebody, and there's some scandal they're gonna make up out of thin air. And by the time you can recover from it and legally soothe it, like, it's over. And it's like, what's the point?
Here's the post. Here's his little retraction that he made, was in reply to the original post.
Thanks, Jamie.
Congressman Massie made up that question on the fly. It's based on nothing, and it's pretty sick. That was the first thing on his mind. I was asking him about allegations about him made by an ex on the record and giving him a chance to respond. I deny the allegations he made up about me. There were no allegations made. He asked the simple question, do you like gay porn?
No. Is it true you like gay porn?
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Which is how they frame that question to him.
I heard somewhere
bullshit.
I heard someone say this. This is all hearsay. Can you address this ridiculous allegation? Because in the court of politics, you are absolutely guilty until proven innocent. So
that's right.
Yeah. But, I think the only thing that could have made it better is when he denied it, he would have been like, Are you willing to pull up your browser history and show us?
I love, dude, the best part of that video is Massie following him the entire way to the street. Like, what a fucking...
My favorite line is, "No, come back."
Dude. We need to, like, meme that with, like, the Uno reverse card.
That's literally what it is. He pulled the Uno reverse card on him, and the dude ran away.
So much.
Well, no, but yeah, you can... The thing is, if you're on the good side of the Republican establishment, you can do just about fucking anything. That that congressman in Republican congressman in Texas that had an affair with his staffer, and then she left his staff and then killed herself by setting herself on fire or some shit.
That was Tony Gonzalez, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Tony Gonzalez. Yeah. And even after that happened, they were like, we'll look into it. And they didn't look into it until the day after the primary when he got forced into a runoff.
Yeah.
And I was like,
but let's
really?
be honest, guys. Who among us has not slept with a staffer who then became suicidal and lit themselves on fire? I mean, who among us?
It's a common thing.
It's a common thing.
I'm just saying, like, if you set yourself on fire, that's not killing yourself. That's making a statement.
Yeah.
No, like really,
might be something to that one.
Yeah.
I guess the pressing question: can we expect this level of trolling out of you if you're elected?
Probably not.
Congress?
I'm not. Listen, I'm not an MIT engineer, and he has to be brilliant. But you know what I will do? I will do my damnedest, and I'll tell you, like, I was chosen by our crew here in Kentucky for that very purpose, compared to the others. So I'll give it my best go. That's for sure. Because you know what I won't be trying to be? Their friend. I don't have anybody to answer to when I get there.
Perfect.
I'm not looking to stick around. I want to come home and embarrass them while I'm there.
That's like the best thing I've ever heard.
Well, and so I mean, I think just as far as, you know, getting nominated, you were already kind of a dark horse candidate. And I think that could happen again in the general, because I mean, especially in your district. I mean, we talked with Casey Allen, another creator, a few weeks back.
Casey was sort of my first guy on the team.
Right on.
Oh, it's awesome.
I like Casey.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems to me that as long as the younger voters can get mobilized and get out, and when I say younger, I mean obviously under the age of 55 and not on Social Security. If we can get them out, I think it's a shoo-in, because nobody wants a Democrat in that district. I mean, that is a historically red district. So if the only option is an AIPAC puppet or a Democrat, dude, I think you came in at the perfect time.
I think so too. It's a unique, I've been trying to tell everybody, this is a very unique race in a very unique place. And by the way, there is a fourth candidate, and I haven't met him. Seems like a nice guy. But unfortunately in Kentucky, when your name is Muhammad, I forget his last name. Muhammad Ahmed is his last name. He's probably a great guy. I just think the chips are stacked against you in 100%. Kentucky there, buddy. So when you bring it to a 3-person race, if you break down the voter demographics, this is what I've been explaining to people. There's roughly, if you look at it as like 6 people, 3 of them are registered Republican, 2 of them are registered Democrat, and then there's this whole swath, basically one other vote, that's either other, independent, libertarian, and then there's like 7 or 8 small, tiny parties that have 100 people registered to them, okay? So if I can pull one of the 3 Republican votes away and then capture the independent vote, okay, you have a 2 versus 2 versus 2 race. And and who's not pulling Republican votes is the Democrat. So she's either got to pull independent votes from me, or I pull more Republican votes than 1 out of 3. But the reality is my likelihood of winning is just as high as the Democrats. But her likelihood of winning without me is 0. So if you want to avoid the puppet, like the play is me. And then if you're a Democrat, you just got to pray the Democrats show up in mass, and that the Republicans choose to vote for me. That's your path to victory. But my path to victory is win the independents and win the Massie vote. Done.
Well, and so obviously you know the district better than either one of us, but even if the Democrats show up en masse, do you think there are enough of them in the district to actually take the election with a third party involved?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if I pull, it depends on what Republicans show up and how much of that I pull away. It is possible for her to win, but if she wins, the problem is, it's like, in order for her to win, I have to pull Ed down. But as I pull Ed down, I rise too. So she's got kind of a flat ceiling that only driving Democrats out can move. Whereas as I pull number 1 closer to her, I'm on the backside chasing her and rising. So it's a really interesting sort of dynamic here, where my odds are kind of just as good as hers, because if I do well, I can win. But if I don't do well, she can't win.
Right. Well, and that's another thing too, is like, I don't even know who the Democratic contender is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the
I have a
algorithm.
theory. No, I have a
Like,
theory.
you know,
So do you guys know what a paper candidate is?
yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay. So I was just introduced to this idea a few weeks ago by somebody who is deep into politics. He goes, in midterm years, in really red districts, what sometimes they will do, the minor party, whoever the second is, right? In this case, it's the Democrats. What they will do is run a candidate with minimal sort of investment. And all they're trying to do is update their voter records, update their contacts, update their, donor lists. And they're basically running an administrative campaign to clean up their books for 2028. And so that's why you haven't heard of her. But her name is Melissa Strange. She does not have a massive social media presence. Seems like a really good mom here. She's going to try, and she's been involved in the community, lives 3 miles from me. It's not, she's right up the road. But ultimately, I don't see them trying yet. I don't see them putting a lot of energy behind the campaign. Now that could change at some point. Sure. Who knows? But she doesn't have a massive social media presence. I think she has 400 followers on X. So it's just one of those things where that's not her campaign strategy. And it's entirely possible that she's trying to run a paper candidacy and, be the administrative arm of the Democratic Party that cleans up the district for 2028, where Kentucky is in play, believe it or not. We have a Democrat governor, and Louisville's a big city here. Lexington's a big city. We're a suburb of Cincinnati, so even though it's a red district, we've got an urban area here as well. Yeah. And Kentucky could flip blue, and I think what they're trying to do is run candidates to sort of clean up their records to do that.
Well, and we have a similar thing here in Pennsylvania, because you have Pittsburgh and you have Philly, and it's Alabama in between.
Yeah.
And so, if you look at the only reason that Republicans won big in Pennsylvania was because the rural voters turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Which does not normally happen.
No. And Erie County was a prime example. So Erie County's up in the far northwest, and their city is run by Democrats. Mm-hmm. Most of the localities surrounding them, minus the rural ones, are run by Democrats. Mm-hmm. But the hillbillies in the area went and turned out, and mm-hmm. Erie County flipped red. Yeah, it was one of those big surprises. Now we had the big surprise in Philly too, which, again, that was the rich folks in Philly that were like, hold on, wait a minute, not in my backyard. Yeah. Full NIMBYism, decided to go and actually turn out and vote, the right way, for once. But, again, obviously your district is historically red. Most of as we said earlier, most of the people that voted for Ed Gallrein weren't voting for Ed Gallrein. They were voting against Thomas Massie. Obviously that the 55 plus crowd is going to be a tough one to pull, just because of money.
Yeah, exactly.
But, for the rest of those voters, what would you say are your, if any, distinctions that make you different from Thomas Massie?
Ooh, that make me different from Thomas Massie. Listen, not to sort of like try to ride his coattails, but they're pretty damn good coattails to ride if we're being honest. I
100%.
don't have many. I think we disagreed on something called the Jones Act at one point, and I think he made a pretty good argument, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of, he even wavered me on it. I don't think there's much. I think the difference between Thomas Massie and I is that if you watched his campaign, he did have to pander to those people. He had to run ads where he's like, look, President Trump and I agree more than we disagree. Okay. No, not me. So I don't have to play that game. I get to be Massey these back 7 months where I call out Republicans, where I don't have to try to get on, because they're not going to put me on a committee. Like, I'm not fighting to have any sort of status in DC. And unfortunately, and fortunately, because it led to great things, I think that's the biggest difference is I've got kind of an FU mindset when I get up there. I don't have to play this game. I know I'm here for one term and one term only. And I get to basically call it out for 2 years because I'm not going to fundraise. I'm not going to make friends. I'm not having to negotiate with party members. I basically get to be nothing but a thorn in their side. And God help them if I'm a swing vote. God help them. Because
that's what we need.
You better go talk to some Democrats there, champ. Or if you're a Democrat, you better go talk to some Republicans because I am not friendly.
Well, and a lot of it, I mean, that's the thing with DC is so much of it is whipping votes, is trying to I hate to use quid pro quo, but quite literally it's quid pro quo. It's all right, you give us money for this, we'll make sure your district gets this. And that's both at the state and the federal level. And so I mean, obviously not compromising and not pandering is a big deal because we don't see enough politicians that do that. Right. Now, kind of on that note, when it comes down to your district, obviously you know the people, you know the main pressure points, and obviously outside of just being at a federal level and making decisions and votes at a federal level, obviously you have to represent your district and your constituents, their needs. What would you say are the two biggest, I guess, issues for your voters, or the two biggest needs, and how are you going to address them? Going into the general.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are two, and they don't know as much about one, but it's a huge issue. So number one is affordability, plain and simple. And then that affordability, my job is to help them understand why houses didn't just get more expensive. Like there are causes behind this, and the causes behind it are that we print money endlessly to continue to fight wars abroad. And why do we continue to fight wars abroad? Well, because lobbies for foreign countries like Israel buy our politicians, so that we print money so that they can go on their imperialistic adventures. And that is ultimately, you compound that over a period of 30 years. Now you can't afford a house anymore because we've printed so much money. I need to explain to them that the affordability crisis isn't just greedy billionaires, right? Like there's a lot to it, and it all comes back to the dollar. So that's number one, is help them understand how we get this country back affordable. And that is to cut spending, and stop printing. That's the only way that we will ever have the opportunity to catch up. So that's number one.
To your point there, though, the best way that I've explained it to people is it's something simple, right? It's the price of a pizza. The cost, take it all the way back to the wholesalers. The actual cost to manufacture pepperoni hasn't changed. The actual cost to distribute that has hardly changed. Service-based businesses specifically, a lot of them are fixed cost. So that isn't what's changing. It's you're handing them a rotting currency.
Yeah. Your dollar is worth less today than it was yesterday.
Yeah, and I point people to Argentina all the time, and it's like you look at their spending, and the same iPhone that we spend $1,200 on, is I guess in their equivalent would be like us spending, and this is now, would be like us spending $1,800 or $1,900 on that same iPhone. Just because their currency's worth nothing. And so we're headed that direction.
Yes.
The only difference we have is that as of the moment, the dollar is still the reserve currency. That is the only thing that is stopping us from going right off the ledge.
Yep. That's it. That's the only thing that's held us back. And, I think if you ever want to believe into God, there's this clip, if you ever want to pull it, of Ed Galrain trying to explain Trump in Iran. He's like, President Trump is playing 5D chess. Oh, God, it's the cringiest thing I've ever seen. He really is not good on a microphone. Sorry, I had to get my shot in on that because this is what it made me think about. But that's why we get sucked into some of this stuff too, is because those are factors at play. If we lose the world reserve currency, it's over. It's over. We are donezo, champ. And that's why we get sucked into some of these things, is because they can leverage that against us. When in reality, if we just stopped printing the damn money, we could recover. We could catch up. And that has to come with massive spending cuts. And that's it. Oh, did you find it already? Oh, my God.
I found the clip.
Oh,
During
buddy.
his speech, Galway noted how the Kentucky business community and farmers are being squeezed by the rising cost of fuel and fertilizer. That prompted me to ask how he feels about the war in Iran, which has caused prices to soar.
The president is playing five-dimensional chess. He is resetting the entire global power structure. So let him work through that, to reset that, to set the conditions for just like President Reagan did. Exactly like President Reagan did.
During his speech,
I don't know how saying just like President Reagan did is in any way a positive thing. I mean, look, Reagan.
This is why they don't let him debate. Like you see immediately why he is not allowed in front of people.
Well, there was another interview where he describes the Iran war as a holy war and called Iran one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did.
It's like they can't put this guy in front of a microphone.
They can't. Yeah. So I don't know. It's something.
So going into the second issue, before I derailed you.
Look, the second issue I think is existential, and sometimes libertarians get mad at me about this because we become these property rights absolutists, and it's like, no, you kind of have to see the forest from the trees. Data centers are not for you to ask AI questions. They are not for you to, like you said, create funny cat memes. Data centers will power mass surveillance, central bank digital currencies, and the social credit system that will be implemented. It is like building your own train car. Like you're literally assembling the train car that they are going to load you into. That's what these data centers, that's the only way they make money. That's the only way it's profitable. And right now, I think government contracts for these data centers for Palantir makes up like 50%, but the consumer segment is growing. But that's because we're pushing back a little bit on it. So we have this is an existential crisis. These things cannot be allowed to happen. And if they invest in the infrastructure for it, they will get it. We have to stop them from being able to get the infrastructure for it. So I would go to DC and do everything I could to fight big big tech on this, which is really just a perverted marriage of big government and big tech, and try to displace these oligarchs who are trying to get rich off of implementing these flock cameras and the mass
That's
surveillance.
exactly what I was about to ask you about.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
because you
100%.
mentioned mass surveillance, I mean, you're seeing obviously Ryan and I did a whole show on Flock. And it was we called it Flock Palantir and the Automobile Kill Switch. It was a Super Saiyan surveillance state, essentially. And so you're starting to see, it was great because we posted that episode and then like 2 weeks later, everybody's talking about flock cameras. And it's like, all right, awesome. Finally, people are waking up and seeing that. People are ripping them down. I guess now there's like an organized group that's going around doing it. And so it's been really, really cool to see because people are kind of finally starting to wake up and go, oh, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, maybe we are being surveilled in mass. And so to your point about the data centers, the thing that I've tried to explain to everybody is go back to the Patriot Act when everybody was up in arms about the Patriot Act and its mass surveillance. We have roughly 80 centers across the country that are already being used for data aggregation and sharing with law enforcement, federal and local agencies. And every single one of those data centers that pops up, if you think that in some way, shape, or form, the government is not going to be buying space in that to turn that 80 go-betweens into 200, 300, 400 go-betweens, you've completely lost your mind because you go and look at a heat map of Memphis, right? Look at how many flock cameras are in Memphis or Atlanta or LA. The amount of data that's going to pass through those, you have to have somewhere to store it. You have to have somewhere to process it. And Palantir has a lot of infrastructure, but to be able to take this massive amount of data that's coming in and aggregate it, you're going to need a lot more than 80 go-betweens. And now the big thing that I'm getting ready to push, and I told Ryan, I'm like, we need to do a full show on this, is Leonardo. They're a company here in the United States. They have developed a technology called Signal Trace. And essentially what Signal Trace is it's a small system that can be implemented into automated license plate readers, like CCTV cameras. You don't need to actually put any infrastructure in. It can be added to existing infrastructure. And what it does is it reads RFID and Bluetooth signals. So your car stereo, your phones, your watches, anything that emits a radio frequency, it can tack and track. And so they're track and tag. There we go. Got it. At this point, your vehicle, you already have Flock with doing convoy analysis. And if you happen to be out of the realm of a Flock camera, basic security systems can now pick this stuff up. And so state, local, and federal governments combine all those things together, and you have what you just said, a mass surveillance machine. And so when it comes to things like Flock, when it comes to things like Signal Trace, obviously, I think we know your stance. It's a hard no. But I can
no,
cut
we
that.
need to go in the other direction. These need to be torn down.
Yeah, 100%. And so, I mean, obviously from your position, as a representative in Congress, you know, obviously there, a lot of it's at a local level. Some of it's at a private level. But what measures would you take that are obviously within your realm to kind of dismantle the surveillance state, at least in the Kentucky 4th District?
Yeah, well, I think you have to start by blocking what we just talked about that is still not implemented yet. So you've got to make sure we ban CBDCs. So at least if you say the wrong thing on the internet, you can still, go buy a gun with cash, right? Like you still have your rights intact. You're not barred from buying groceries at the grocery store because you know.
Yeah, you're not going to turn up like a Canadian trucker.
Correct, right? So you have to we have to completely ban CBDCs, and then from there we have to ban any sort of form of social credit. How quickly we forget 2020 with all this mass surveillance, and how quickly right wingers are dumb enough to kind of fall right back into the same trap of, oh, well, we're stopping the bad guys. It's used to catch illegal immigrants. Yeah, do you remember when you were the bad guy in 2020 because you wanted to go to a restaurant and not get a vaccine and not show a vaccine card? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. How about if they can shut your car off? How about if they can track you down by your license plate reader and pull you over because you didn't accept this week's vaccine that is necessary to be updated? Yeah. Yep. The biggest flaw with left-wingers don't fall for this trap, by the way. Right-wingers fall for this trap in believing that they will always be in control and that therefore they will always be the good guys able to stop the bad guys. They take a very pro-wrestling approach to politics, right? Yeah. They're the bad guys, we're the good guys, we win, right? And it's the most asinine, brain-dead take that you can possibly have. Democrats will be in control, and they will use this to censor you. They will use this to arrest you if you don't toe the company line, right? And you're building your own train car. And so that legislatively, ban CBDCs, ban any sort of form of social credit, make it illegal for any government anywhere across the country to implement anything similar to that. And that's first. And then you have to start trying to find legal vulnerabilities to these data centers where you can kind of leverage a couple things. Maybe there was some eminent domain used where you can, kind of change a rule here or a law there that we can maybe go backwards on it. But that I think is the best we can hope for at this point. And then it's going to be up to local municipalities and state governments to pull these flock cameras down.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I missed the conversation I really wanted to be in.
Yeah.
Sorry. You jump in here.
You missed the flock and signal trace, and this, you'll get a kick out of this. And I can, always.
There was a Timothy McVeigh mention.
Solid. Oh man. Well, hey, if there's any boomers listening, they'll understand.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the best campaign I've seen yet.
Yes, I do love this.
I am not advocating for you to destroy public property.
No,
but I'm also not telling you not to.
Yeah.
So
we're just providing information.
Technically, you're paying for the public property. Don't destroy private property.
Listen, and that's the messed. That's the mess. God, that's the most messed up part. How does Palantir get this money? From the taxpayer.
Literally from us.
We're not only building our own train cars, we're paying for it. Yep. It's insane. Anyways, all right.
But people don't pay. People don't pay attention, and also people have a sad habit of preferring security to freedom, which consistently gets us in trouble, and also has consistently been the reason that we turned into a world superpower. Before we believed that, and then we fucking reversed ourselves. So, yeah.
So you mentioned. Obviously part of it is going to be educating and explaining to folks that, hey, listen, it all comes back to the dollar, right? There are going to be some people that ask you, okay, that's a long-term solution. What can we do in the short term? And there's no good answer for it because the answer is nothing.
Yeah.
But how would you go about kind of like breaking that to them without saying, hey, you know what, there's nothing I can do. And then they go, oh, well, fuck you. Why am I voting for you?
Yeah, I know, right? No, that's a great point. I think you have to use what I would maybe call non-libertarian means at this point, because we've reached non-libertarian places. I'll give you a great example. There are you start with like Blackstone and BlackRock. Sorry guys, you can't buy single family homes. We're done. Like if you're a asset manager who holds over a certain dollar amount, you can't buy single family homes. Apologies. Because one of the things that they're doing is they're not even renting them, because like Ryan, what you're talking about, being a tenant and renting these out, like by all means, yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, for sure. In Arizona, where I lived for a few years, what they will do is buy entire developments and then sit on them unoccupied, because now they're assets that are held. And what are those assets actually doing? Because you're limiting the supply of the market.
Yeah, you're forcing appreciation on your own assets.
You're forcing appreciation, exactly. And so that's why something in that direction, it will immediately sort of solve some supply issues. You also got to make it easier for builders to build. You've got to make it easier for families to buy.
That's my number one. So the corporation thing, my problem, I think it's a great idea. I think it's really hard to enforce, because
I agree too.
You're going to get an asset manager, somebody that does that, and they have,
just gonna
billions of dollars, and they're going to start another umbrella corporation. They're going to funnel money into it, and they're going to do it under another name, and there's going to be loopholes in that. I do think that the biggest thing you can do is reduce regulation to initiate new building, because especially places like California are they're wildly renowned for being impossible to build in. And there's actually, I was listening to a podcast, this is years ago, and this is before I was even back into politics at all. Like, I was not paying attention to politics. I was paying attention to real estate. Fault. Yeah, sorry about that. It's my fault. It's my fault, and Mr. Jim Beam's fault is the real answer. But there was a community in New Jersey where it was a real estate investor, and it was cheaper for them to they were calling it pop topping. They were taking the roof off of buildings, extending those buildings 3 or 4 stories up, and putting the roof back on, because it was cheaper for them to renovate that building and make it higher than it was for them to break new ground.
Unbelievable.
Well, and that's so on that point, Ryan, the thing that people, I guess, don't realize either is, as far as land developers go, it's not just about houses and single family homes. It's these massive developers and these massive investment firms coming in and buying up large swaths of land. And then they hire on a contractor to come in, and this new development takes 5, 6, 7 years to build. And all that does is, again, it appreciates the value of the land, because now there's less land to buy. So, outside of just single family homes, I mean, I think there's some attention that should be paid there. Now, you mentioned making it easier for builders to build. Specifically in your district, I guess, are there any massive red flags that stick out to you that you could say, hey, you know what? No, that's red tape that doesn't need to be there. I'm cutting it.
No, not here. Again, this is a unique place where this is German Catholic country, man. Like there's a reason Massie is from this district. Like, it's not an act, and it's not just Massie. There's a whole bench of state reps and senators and county legislators. Like, there's a streak of liberty-focused people here who have kind of kept this whole thing at bay. And so mostly, for the most part here, it's about as good as you can find it anywhere else. It would just be the similar same red tapes in this district. But no, we're not nutty or crazy. You can build here, you can buy land here. They're pro-developer. There are a few here that do really well. We're just not necessarily a high demand market that people are necessarily moving to. It has grown, but that's sort of the Cincinnati area. So a lot of that's in Ohio too. But no, not here specifically. On this topic of land, I have a very unpopular hot take, but I think it would help affordability too. Part of it is that we are crushed underneath this debt. We're having to pay $1 trillion in debt a year, or in interest on the debt every year. And that's not a small number. Sometimes when your credit card is maxed out, you gotta go to the pawn shop. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get the bills paid. The United States of America has a ton of public land that is of absolutely no value whatsoever to the United States government. I'm thinking Nevada. I'm not talking about like, let's get rid of our wildlife, like our national parks. People sacrifice me for that. But there's a ton of public land that the United States government should sell. And if it sells it, it has to be tied to specifically paying down the debt. I think there's enough land that if we were to sell a good chunk of it, we help people with affordable housing. We give more room for developers to develop, and then last but not least, we pay down the debt in the process. So it's kind of a win-win-win. People get real touchy about public lands and like protecting our public land. I'm not talking about like let subdivision come in and building Yellowstone. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like there's a ton. If you look, there's just a ton of public land that we don't need.
Look at the Midwest.
Yeah, the Midwest is a great example of it, especially out west too. And some of that I get is unbuildable, but you give people enough incentive to develop. We built Phoenix in the middle of a awful desert. Like humans can figure this stuff out. You know what I mean?
And we have no excuse with the way technology's advanced.
That's right.
It's true.
You can figure it out. So now you mentioned, obviously your district not being, high demand.
Mm-hmm.
Is the concept of incentivizing new business and increasing that demand in your district something that you're interested in? Is that something that you think your constituents would be for?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way, everybody's always going to be a big fan of like bringing new jobs to your district and that sort of thing. But the way you do that is simple. Stop taxing businesses to do business. Like it's pretty simple. And I have kind of an interesting proposal on that. And I think if we introduced it locally, it would be revolutionary. It's probably a little easier to introduce locally, but if we introduce it at a federal level, it would work too. One of the problems with inflation is the last place it arrives is wages. So it starts at the top with like big programs and innovation, and it has to cycle through the billionaires, and then the billionaires spend their money and down in the million, and it's so on and so forth, right? So eventually, slowly, so the prices rise first, and then the wages come up behind it. What if you got tax breaks because you paid your employees more? What if there was a sliding scale for corporate taxes, where the more you pay your employees, the less you pay in corporate tax? I think that is I'm not pro-tax, so don't come at me, anarchist, right? But what a great way to allow corporations to benefit by paying their people more and not replacing them with AI. I think there are creative solutions like that can be pursued, where companies will want to come and innovate. But ultimately, companies want to. The biggest thing for local communities, in order to bring these jobs and develop, they start small, but they want to be around hubs. And so, because you're going to go to networking events and meet somebody who you can connect with. Businesses don't operate in a silo. They don't have everything they need right there. So that they try to get into these communities. And so the more local communities can foster an environment that attracts small businesses to come and develop. Just the other day here in the Northern Kentucky area, I heard from an AI developer who's got an AI company that's about to break ground, like is working with, I think, who'd you list? Ford, and there was some other company. Now she's bringing on big clients, and that's going to be a massive win for us here in the space, because now either those companies are going to want to be close to her, or at least open a department close to her in this company. So that's how you do it. There's magnets. But from a federal legislation or a local legislation, ways of cutting corporate taxes and making it easier for people to do business is the only answer that attracts people to you.
So, and to me, that sounds like a much less heavy-handed approach to the federal tax scale for corporate tax in the late 40s and 50s, where it was, you're going to get taxed at 90% unless you reinvest.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, this is obviously a less heavy-handed way to do it. That's a truly incentivizing. It's not, it's not giving them a choice between eat shit or go fuck yourself. Like,
yeah, right.
Those aren't the choices that you're giving them.
Right. And ultimately, like, And look, if you're a large corporation who replaces all of your employees with AI, like I get that it's an innovation, but okay, what value do you bring to the community then at that point? Like the entire point of attracting a company to a community is to have it be, employ the community. So if you're not an employer, yeah, go to Silicon Valley, kick rocks. I don't care. You don't add value in any way here. But if you are getting a tax break that washes out because now it's going to your employees and now it's getting followed into the people of the community, and those employees put the money in their wallet and then they go and spend it at other businesses. That is how tax policy should be thought about. Is how do we benefit the average American?
Absolutely. And so you brought up the idea of like, okay, companies aren't attracted in a silo, right? And obviously you're in a unique district because you do have a large urban area in Ohio and Cincinnati. And so in what ways would you work with leadership in Ohio to kind of get on like an even playing field? So obviously like Pennsylvania and Ohio, we have some reciprocity, things like that. What could you do to or what would you do rather?
Build a wall across the Ohio River. You ask the people in Kentucky, that's exactly what they want. Build the damn wall across that river and keep those Ohioans over there. No, I think there is a good relationship. They build a lot of the stuff in Cincinnati on the actual riverfront, so that Kentucky benefits from it too. People here can walk to they can park in Kentucky and walk to a Bengals game, or park in Kentucky and walk to a Reds game. It's kind of a cool relationship, but politically the two they couldn't be farther apart. And so I think it's just continuing to attract. I don't necessarily think we got to work together. You know what I mean? Like sometimes what's right for Cincinnati isn't right for Kentucky, and that's why there's a border there. And people can. What's great about places like this, in my opinion, is it illustrates the effectiveness of kind of the national divorce at a small scale. And what I mean by that is people can vote with their feet. If you like the policies and the lifestyle in Cincinnati better, pack it up and move your 2 miles across the border. Right. But if you find the policies and things in, so maybe that's the answer, is we get to beta test things. Yeah. Right here, as a community in 2 different states, we get to beta test policies, we get to beta test strategies, and see which one wins by which one people want to go to.
And meanwhile, California can't figure out why they're hemorrhaging businesses and citizens.
So, and actually, so interesting point on that. Rather than working together, so say one of those companies does decide, all right, well, we need to move an office into this area because you have such a close proximity to Cincinnati. Obviously, a lot of larger companies, especially, are going to be attracted to the more urban area because they view it as easier access to workforce, easier access to public resources, public transportation, et cetera. What would you say to businesses that would encourage them to build and move into Kentucky as opposed to 2 minutes across the border into Ohio?
Lower taxes, lower crime, and come meet the people. You come to one council meeting in Covington or Northern Kentucky, and really quickly you'll realize like, oh, okay, yeah, this is an easy sell. Our people are the win, and that's really what it comes down to for me. And I think that's kind of the way that any city should sell itself. You find your people, and that's where you know you'll fit. But that bridge is tough to get across in the mornings, and so if you want access to the people of Kentucky, you need to be in Kentucky. You'll get some, but you'll also miss out on great people who don't want to cross that bridge. And that's my biggest selling point. Honest to goodness, lower taxes, lower crime, better people.
Papa John's.
Yes.
Which ironically is from Kentucky.
That's funny. Yeah, well, I totally knew that, and that's why I made that joke.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely knew that. He was stewing on that all night.
Sitting here, waiting.
Ryan, so we've had kind of the opposite dynamic from the last show that we recorded, which is I have dominated this one pretty much. Go ahead, man.
Here's the thing, I don't have too much. Like I've read your platforms. I generally think that you strike me as not as much of a libertarian as you are a constitutionalist.
Okay.
And I'm not saying you don't have to agree or disagree with me. That's just, but no, that's kind of more how like your policies have struck me. Like,
well, for me, the difference between a constitutionalist and a libertarian is who you're talking to. I have always prided myself in I need to be able to communicate the ideas of libertarianism to somebody who's never understood the ideology at all. That's my market. You guys know Spike Cohen?
I know the name.
Okay, so Spike was a VP in 2020, but you guys should have Spike on. Spike's the man.
I'd love to have him on. He is great.
Yeah. Spike has been on record to name me as one of the 5 best libertarians to talk to normies. And that's sort of why
that's a big endorsement.
To talk to normies, right? So that is how I try to run this campaign. We had 5 sort of pillars that defined our campaign. Be authentic, tell the truth, simple, normal, relatable. Like be simple, be normal, be relatable, have fun, and then stay on offense. And that is sort of how we're going to run this campaign. And so I take the constitutionalist part as the simple, normal, relatable. What can most people in Kentucky understand? Can they understand that I want to privatize the police force? No, they can't. And so I'm not going to talk to them about that because I'm not in charge of the police force. And it's never going to happen, right? We don't live in a world where these things are possible. Now, if you want to get into theory and debate with me, but I am what I would call myself a directional libertarian. What moves us in that direction? Okay, let's do it. Some people will call that an incrementalist. I don't. Incrementalists are like so there's this question in libertarianism. If there's a button today that ended government, would you press it? Okay. And most people who are libertarians press the button. Most people who aren't don't. And if you don't, you can potentially be an incrementalist where it's like, well, we kind of need to phase government out. Okay. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is I am one of 4. If I manage to be the first elected libertarian congressman as a third party candidate, okay, I will still be one of 438. I will go up there and I will scream and I will shout and I will be a pain in everybody's ass. But I'm still one of 438 at a federal level, talking to people about like the definites of property, like it privatizing the police force, just the silly nonsense. It serves nobody whatsoever. So why are we talking about it? What are we doing here? And so I take it as a compliment that you have to reach constitutionalist before you reach libertarian. But underneath this very constitutionalist shell is a guy who'd like to get rid of it all.
I respect that, honestly. So you were at the LPNC then?
Yes, the one in Michigan. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
and the last 2 before that. Yeah.
If I am such a nerd recently that as a non-libertarian, I sat and watched a good portion of the LPNC. And happened to be as much as I could with my day job. And this is kind of one of those things where I like a lot of what libertarians do, but there is an absolutely massive. It's like any party. I think right now you've got MAGA Republicans and then you have actual Republicans. And I think there's a massive spread in libertarians, but there's this feeling that oftentimes they are getting in their own way. And I got into it with a guy yesterday on X, I think, and he was trying to push me into joining the Libertarian Party. And I was like, listen, first off, I might get there, bro. Like, like I might get there at some point. I'm not saying
Mhm.
I was a Republican when I was younger. I was never registered Republican, but I was definitely I
Mhm.
voted Republican. But there are moments that the Libertarian Party has that just absolutely I'm like, and you lost me again. The ICE thing was
Yeah.
one yesterday. I tweeted at at LP National and I said,
Yeah.
just when I start liking you guys, you fucking do this shit. But I'm gonna pull up. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick.
Sure. Oh,
It
God
was
help me. If it's from LP National
it was from
Convention,
LP.
God help
Oh
me.
yeah, because I was watching it live and then I had to go back and I cut the clip myself because I was like, this is the dumbest shit. Why are we doing this?
This is, by the way, that's what all of us in the crowd say the entire
Dude,
time.
I'm sure. Well, the fucking the guy. I don't know who. The guy that was running the convention at that moment was like, he got pissed.
Yeah. I had to go up and tell Michaela, I was like, man, listen, you run a good convention, so good job. I appreciate it.
It was were you there for, I'm going to call it, air conditioner gate?
No, wait.
Did you see this?
I have not. But I already know, Mr. Chair, point of privilege. Can we please? Yeah.
Okay, so you know it. I'm not going to play it then.
I don't even need to. I don't even need to see it to know it. I didn't know it existed, but I just quoted it word for word.
Yeah, it's the most ridiculous moment to have, and I'm like, if people, you're just giving the major parties ammunition against you.
Yeah.
Doing this. Did I show it to Bobby? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Where, he asked whether or not turning down the AC meant reducing the amount of power to the air conditioning unit, which would in fact make the temperature go up, or dude.
Okay, I was in the room for this, so oh God. Okay.
It was the most uncomfortable and stupid moment.
Well, it's because he wasn't trying to talk about air conditioner. Can I tell you what he was doing?
Sure.
He was doing like his version of a filibuster at that point.
That's kind of what I assumed.
Yeah. And it's and oh God. Oh, what I have to remind people about LP National Convention is that it is a business meeting. Ultimately, is what it is. And so there's these rules of order and the things of the day, and it's us voting on inter party sort of like
the bylaws and everything.
Yeah, it's the worst. I try to tell people that the Libertarian Party is not a social club. Like, we actually do things. We don't do them there. That is not where stuff gets done. That's where like party stuff is handled. But here, what I will tell you, if you ever come to one and you hang out with the right people, it's a hell of a good social club, and you'll meet some incredible people and have some really good times. But man, the business meetings, they're all like this, dude. Like, that's just what it is. And yeah, anyways, I don't know if you had a point beyond that.
No, it was just moments like that I feel like give ammunition to everybody else more than they help the party.
And what I'll tell you is they do their best to try to break that up on video with the speakers. And so and they got a lot of heat for the speakers, right? Like, we're not getting to business. And it's kind of like, well, when we get to business, this is a clown show, right?
Yes.
Like, can we do less business? That would be a positive thing. And so that's how some people are trying to improve it, and believe it or not, it has gotten better. But yes, we have our share of goofballs, and I think there are good ways to address it. Now, what I will say in a very positive light is that at least for my campaign, and I've seen it on other campaigns, is that enemies they didn't come together, but they both support me, right? Like, people who are mortal enemies in the party both are like sharing my stuff and supporting a candidate and like trying to put that foot forward. So no pressure on me to save the entire Libertarian Party, but I think some days it feels like it. I'm kidding, of course. The people are great, but we've got hopefully some hope here, and what we thought might be kind of a problem is turning into actually productivity, and But yeah, that's what I'll say. We are a special kind of autism, and we attract a special kind of autism to the Libertarian Party. And yeah, great people, and then some goofballs, but it's a lot.
There's
And,
always going to
you
be
know,
goofballs.
then you try to run a business meeting with goofballs, and you're like, God bless, help me, please.
Yeah. No, no, I honestly, I haven't seen you do anything yet that I haven't agreed with. And that is incredibly rare because there are libertarians that I mix it up with on the daily.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably there, but again,
I'm sure it exists. I'm sure it exists.
I don't talk about them. Why? Again, be on offense, not on defense. What libertarians do is they like to defend their positions,
Right.
and I'm not interested in doing that. If you think it's crazy, then you think it's crazy. Great. Here's the things that I care about. We're gonna focus on that.
You got to kind of live in the real world, you know,
That's
at the
right.
same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't have anything else. Ryan, you got anything?
No, I think we covered pretty much all my hot buttons. This has been awesome. I'm very happy to have finally met you because I was like, the second you dropped into this race, I was like, fuck yes, this is the response that we needed. And of course, immediately took a bunch of flack from MAGA establishment. And but I've also never been a MAGA guy, so I don't know what they expect from me.
That's it. Yeah.
I just think that we need to start acknowledging that we have more than two voices in the public sphere, because that was always my biggest predisposition. That's actually how I ended up being on this podcast in the first place. This was Bobby, no offense to him, was a pretty MAGA dude.
I towed the line when I needed to because I didn't want whack job Kamala Harris getting in there.
Yeah, but he was a pretty MAGA dude, and he pulled me in because I was an independent, and he knew I would, if I disagreed with him, I'd fight back. And I was like, all right, cool. First off, I respect that, because most people in that sect are not gonna take criticism. And so,
it's because I think our entire relationship was predicated on both of us like tag teaming people in a bar.
Barroom politics needs to come back.
Debate your local bar room,
dude. Honestly, that was I miss the dude. If you walk into a bar nowadays, you're not allowed to talk about. I'm not saying you're not allowed, but it's faux pas to talk about politics and religion. Yeah. And I've had some of the best political discussions and religious discussions sitting in a bar room with a couple beers, and I miss those days. But now you get stabbed, I think. I also miss the days when you used to just get in a bar fight and somebody would hit you, and then you'd buy them a beer and you'd call it a day.
Right.
So.
We got to get the young people back in bars. That's the Have you guys seen this? Like, Gen Z doesn't even go to bars now.
It is substantially less than it used to be. Yeah.
To be fair, I kind of get it, because why does somebody need to go to a bar and drink when they can go into a gas station and get a fruit flavored THC vape that they can go around hitting Target? Like, when growing up, I had to smoke pot in the woods out of a punched in Coca-Cola can that we stabbed holes in with a pencil, and now these kids are just hitting their vape in Target. Like,
that feels bad, because the first time I ever smoked weed, I don't smoke weed currently, and I never liked it, but the first time I smoked weed was out of a Coca-Cola can, and I was probably like 22 years old. I was way older than the age you're supposed to be smoking out of a soda can.
And then I put you on the floor on Christmas Eve.
You sure did, and it was great. But yeah, no, listen. We're here. What do you think about drugs?
Yeah, what do I think about drugs?
What do you think about drugs?
Why not? Yeah, welcome to the Libertarian Question.
This is Libertarian now.
Yeah. My position's, I think, pretty simple. It's kind of boring. I grew up a Baptist kid, and was like the leader in the youth group and all that sort of stuff. So let me list off the nevers. I've never smoked a tobacco cigarette. I've never partaken in THC or CBD in any capacity, I believe, or cannabis for that matter. I've never done cocaine, but it sounds amazing, and that's why
what I
do
say.
it.
Same thing.
Because I'm a little I'm a little worried. Well, I'm just a little worried that I'll be a little too into it. So I stay away, stay far away. And I've obviously never done anything harder, never done pills or psychedelics, anything like that because of my sweet Baptist upbringing. But I will drink you under the table. I love the social aspect of beer. I can shotgun one in about 2.3 seconds. I've never actually lost a shotgun race. But anyways, that's, but I didn't actually start drinking till I was like 22, 23.
Same for me.
If I remember, because Baptist kid, right?
I graduated from a Baptist school.
So to tell the story on drugs, like I don't partake. I have no dog in the fight. Like I'm not some hippie who's into this, but the idea that we are spending taxpayer, like these people don't need cages. Like I'm sorry. Like a cage is not the answer to addiction. It's just not. You can give me some anecdotes of somebody who went into prison and got clean, and I will give you 100 who relapsed the second they got out. Like these people need access to, treatment. And if we're talking about addiction, and then if we're not talking about addiction, who cares? Who gives a damn? Like, okay, don't do it in public. I'm fine with that. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be shooting up. Homeless dudes shouldn't be shooting up. But the way to solve that is, kick the homeless people out of the playgrounds, right? Like, it's not. It's so. Anyways, a cage is that's ultimately where I come down. Cages are not the answer, and that there are better answers than that.
Like I said, you haven't given me an answer I don't like yet.
Yeah.
I told you it was boring, but that's really what it comes down to. I think
I'm with you.
I think it should all be decriminalized. I don't necessarily want to live in a world where you go into a gas station and you can buy heroin. Like, I could see that as problematic. But if Seattle wants to do it, I don't give a damn. I don't live in Seattle. Let those people decide what they want to do too. Very local on that sort of thing. But people don't belong in prison.
If you want to get incredibly dark on it, survival of the fittest eventually would play its part, and the people who are going to abuse those things are just no longer going to exist.
Well, and that's another part
it feels
of it too.
bad, but it's true.
It is. It's 100% true. But
I mean, it's the free market philosophy on it is you're right. Like it's a product that kills its own customers, right? So
right. Well, and not just that. So I have a similar position to you, Jeremy, which is I've always said if we took and we decriminalized drugs, took 50% of the budget that we spend on prisons and jails locally, and then cut the other 50% across the board. The amount, imagine the good that it would do locally in your community, which is where it ultimately starts. Your taxes would go down. Like it would lead to a better quality of life, the best quality of life you could possibly have outside of external factors.
Yeah. But people want to get into these conversations about like, well, how do we tax it? How do we gain revenue off of the legal cocaine market? It's like, stop. That's the Republican approach. It's like, no, just stop putting people in jail, cut the budgets, and take 50% of the budget and invest it into rehab clinics. Okay. Well, now you've helped kind of solve your
community outreach.
Yeah. Community outreach.
Like that's it.
God, cocaine does sound fun though.
It sounds so much fun.
Wow. Kind of a wild idea here. But something else that we could always do too, aside from just going down and knocking doors when you guys are ready for that is, what do you think the market in your district would be for, say, a live podcast where we get, you up on the stage with us and do a town hall and say, hey, you know what, we're going to live stream it. We're going to give, folks the opportunity to come up and speak their mind, and it gets your platform out to a larger audience.
Yeah, I think on June 30th, it's really hard to determine that. It
Fair.
might be a bit early, but I love the idea and am all for it. Especially as we get closer and voting and like campaign is on people's minds a little more, then hell yeah.
I just want to do it because then Ryan would have to play the part of the producer because I'm not a sound guy.
That's
That's
right.
true. I'm an
And
AV.
if you guys do it in October, we can go ride roller coasters and see like scary monsters at the same time at Kings
That
Island.
honestly sounds like and then we drink beer afterward.
That's right.
Or before,
Yeah.
or before, depending on your stomach.
or during.
Yeah,
during-
they sell it
during.
there. The fucking diesel cans of beer available at the theme park, man.
For what, like
That's
$15?
Oh, it's 18.
Dude,
Yeah, but it's 24 ounce beer.
Dude, I was at
Hey, that's still not as bad as the like, dude. When I went to the Sleep Token show in Cleveland at Rocket Arena, I spent $22 for
Jesus Christ.
two soft drinks. Soft drinks. They were $11, and they were 20-ounce bottles.
The a captive audience is a wild thing.
Yeah.
I went to this vacation I was on a couple weeks ago. I went to Dollywood, and don't take a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old to Dollywood. It's fucking stupid. And it was like 95 degrees that day too. It was awful. But a beer at Dollywood was, I think, like close to $20. Yeah, I think it was close to $20 for like, and I'm not talking like a good beer. I'm talking like a Miller Lite pounder.
Yeah, like so here's the honest thing. Weigh the pain of spending that much money with shoving a couple pounders up your butt and smuggling them in. It's a no-brainer.
It's really a no-brainer for me.
Yeah,
right. Well, I think that's a perfect.
Well, this got off the rails real quick.
Yeah. We started with politics and campaigning, and we ended with the prison pocket. It's great.
Yeah, it ended with booze in the prison pocket. Well, that's generally how things go on this show, so it works out great.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope that we do get to make it down to Kentucky at some point and share a beer, because that would be a blast. I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely.
Picking your brain is fun to see. It's fun to see somebody from the Libertarian Party that first off has an Ice Cube's chance in hell, or like more than an Ice Cube chance in hell, and also has the ability to explain their position to people who aren't necessarily completely familiar with libertarian positions, because that, I think, is the biggest bridge that libertarians have to cross.
Yeah, I totally agree.
100%. So before we get out of here, go ahead and tell everybody where they can follow you. Shout out your website. It'll all be down in the description, but let's hear it from your mouth.
Absolutely. So the website is jeremy-todd.com, because a hippie in Seattle named Jeremy Todd that does music bought the other domain.
Always
so
musicians.
It's jeremy-todd.com. That's it. Kentucky is not for sale. Can't buy KY. Would you like to know who pointed out that this is a bit of an innuendo? Any guesses? You'll never guess.
Ed Garland?
No.
that would be insinuating that the man has had an original thought in his life.
It was Kentucky's best congresswoman, Lauren Boebert, who was like, "You got to be kidding." I was like, "You want to take a picture with the sign?" She was like, "No, you got to be kidding me."
Can't buy KY.
Well,
That's
you
right.
could. You could until well, you can now.
So we did take a picture, but we did take a picture, and it's kind of funny. But she swore that she made me swear I'd never share it with public. So
that's fair.
Yeah. She's hilarious, by the way. Anyways, jeremy-todd.com is where you can go to support the campaign. Buy a t-shirt, buy an FAFO hat, and we'll have some new merch out hopefully this week. We got a little thing going on the 4th of July, so make sure to check the socials on 4th of July morning. And it's going to be at jtodd601 on X. That is me. And then the campaign is running our Facebook/Twitter. That is Jeremy for KY4, I think, or something along those lines. That is our Facebook. So if you are a boomer in either spirit or in reality, we'll be sure to find you there.
I might have to get that Can't Buy KY t-shirt just so I can confuse the fuck out of all the people in front of me on stage. Like I'm gonna be shredding guitar, and they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is he talking about KY for?"
Yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, dude,
Yeah.
this has been awesome, man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Appreciate you guys. I agree.
I will make sure one of the things that I do for all of our guests is I send over a Google Drive link that will
Okay.
have that'll have the full show. It'll have any clips that we use. You are welcome to take that full show, pass it on to your staff, and say, hey,
Cool.
listen, if there's anything you want to cut out and clip yourself, just
We need
tag
some
us as
more
a collaborator.
We'll tag. Well, I'll tag the one where I go, we need more Timothy McVeigh's.
Yes.
that one.
I'm excited to come back later and watch this episode and be like, what the fuck were they talking about?
We're talking about data centers is what we were talking about.
Well.
So,
Touché.
yeah, hopefully that framing won't make it too controversial, but who knows? But yeah, okay, that'll be dope. Yeah.
Yep. Right on. Well, Ryan, go ahead and give your little outro.
You can find me at Ryan Thomas Talks on Instagram and X, primarily X. I don't take pictures very often because I don't want to put my kids on the internet. So find me on X probably. Fight me there if you so feel. I enjoy a good scrap on the internet talking to people. So, love you.
Yeah, right on. As always, I'm Real Robert Her on X, Real Robert Her _ on Instagram, because I've been zucked at least once. And you can follow the show at Spin Cycle V2 everywhere. Link to all of the platforms that we're on. There's like 20 or 30 of them now. Is in the description below. And we will catch you in the next one, guys. We love you. Bye-bye.
Peace.